and welcome to my very first YouTube video. My name is Tammy. I'm a sewing blogger and pattern maker, and I mainly create most of my content over on Instagram and TikTok, but I want to start doing more long form, more detailed tutorials for those who want to learn how to sew. Today we're going to be going through how to make a leather skirt, and this can be quite tricky because you can't really put pins through leather and it's quite a delicate fabric in a lot of ways. So I'm just going to be walking you guys through how I do it, and hopefully by the end you'll have a beautifully made skirt. This is my faux leather fabric. This is the right side. What I'm touching here is the wrong side. I'll be using thread, my tape measure. Next is my buckle for my belt. This is an exposed zip, and my clips because I will not be using pins for this project, and my fabric scissors. Now I've self-drafted my own pattern, which is going to be a skirt. That's my waistline, this is my hip line, and the inside lines are my seam allowance lines. So it just tells me how much allowance I have when I'm sewing. As you can see, it all matches up quite nicely. This side is the outer edge and the one I'm pointing to is the inside edge. And as you can see, the bottom is longer than the other, but that's not by mistake because I have a peplum piece that I'm going to attach to the inside of the skirt just to make a really nice effect. I'm using pattern weights for this project because, again, you can't use pins through leather, it will leave a mark. So if you have pattern weights or anything to hold the pattern down, use this before cutting. It just helps to put everything in place. So now I'm just cutting it with fabric scissors. You can use rotary cutters as well if this is easier for you, but yeah, whatever cutting utensils you have, you can use it. Next, for my fly front zipper, I'm basically sewing the fly front piece right sides together, and I'm using my clips to hold everything in place for when I sew. So sew it from the top to the bottom. I'm taking it to my sewing machine and sewing all the way down, and this is what it looks like once it's been finished. If you guys want a full tutorial of how to do a fly front zip, just let me know in the comments and I'll make sure to add that as well. This is the back, which has the fly guard on it, and now I'm just top stitching the seam allowance, which basically holds it in place and it stops seams from falling apart, and it does look really nice and neat on the outside. I'm attaching my peplum to the bottom of my skirt, and I've just found the center of the peplum and pinning that to the center of my front skirt, and I'm just using my clips to hold everything in place. Peplums can be quite fiddly to sew, so just put as many clips as you need. Yeah, take it to your sewing machine and sew all the way down, and remove your clips as you sew, and just gently guide the fabric through. Leather pieces are thicker, so it can be a little bit more tricky, but just take it slowly. Now I'm top stitching the peplum. Again, this is just to give it a really nice effect. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It has a really nice fullness to it, and now I'm basically attaching the side panel of my skirt. I'm placing it right sides together and just putting the clips to hold everything in place along the side, and I'm going to do this until I get all the way down, and just sewing the side seams together. Now I'm just turning it over and I'm making sure to stitch on top of the seam allowance. So just do that, don't forget to back tack and just go all the way down. And you can see my hand is like just gently pulling, I'm just gently pulling the fabric just to make sure like it's not folding and the fabric is laying flat while I'm top stitching it. This is what the front skirt looks like. Now I'm working on my back skirt piece, so it's the same pattern but I'm not gonna have a line down the center back, so I'm gonna cut that on the fold. I'm using my pattern weights to make sure that everything stays in place, and then I'm gonna cut it. And make sure that your pattern pieces are staying flat so it doesn't get distorted. This is what the back of my skirt looks like. And now I'm just gonna take the front and back pieces and place them right sides together and using my clips to hold everything in place. And after this, I'm just going to sew both of the side seams. So take this to your sewing machine and just go down. Now when you're sewing, go as fast or as slow as you want. I have an industrial sewing machine, so I tend to go really fast. This is what it looks like once it's done. As you can see, it's quite big on me, and when I turn around there's so much space. So I need to take like 3-4 inches off, which is breaking my rule because you're not supposed to unpick leather, and you can see the marks, the needle marks when I unstitch it, but it's fine. So I've taken away the extra fabric and I'm sewing it back in place now. Here are the perils of sewing leather. While I was trying it on, the zip ripped on me, so I've had to just stitch it back together and fix it. But as you can see, it looks really nice and I'm happy with how it fits. Now I'm cutting the belt loops for my skirt. I've marked 1 inch and marking that on my fabric. I'm going to cut it, then take it to my sewing machine. Fold in one side and top stitch towards the wrong side of the leather and sew all the way down. If you need to use clips here, you are most welcome to, but I just find it easier to sew it without. I've folded it over to the other side and I'm doing the exact same thing to top stitch, and this just puts all the raw edges to one side. This is what the belt loops look like. And I'm going to top stitch it onto my skirt, and this is what it looks like at the front, and when I turn it around, this is what it looks like on the back. So now I'm just taking my belt through my buckle and top stitching it in place. It has 2 lines and it looks really nice and pretty, very neat. So to attach your eyelets to the belt, I'm just marking here where I want it to go by putting a very small pin through it, and then taking my scissors to make a small cut. So this makes the opening where your eyelet is going to go through. Grab your eyelet and put it through the opening. So put it through quite gently so you don't rip your leather. It comes with this extra round thing. I don't actually know what it's called, but I'm going to put that to the back. I think it just helps to secure it. I don't know what this is called. I think it's called eyelet pliers, but you use this to secure the eyelet in place. To finish the skirt, now for me, I'm just going to turn it in because it doesn't fray, so I'm just going to turn it in and use my clips to hold it in place. You can finish waistlines in loads of different ways. This is just how I'm doing it for leather. I love to add my labels. If you have your own personal labels, you're welcome to add it to your project. Here is my finished skirt. I really like how it came out. I decided to leave the hem unfinished because leather does not fray. This is just a personal preference and you can do it however you like. I'm so happy you made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it really useful, and if you have any comments, please pop it down below. I've linked all the tools and fabrics that I used in the description box, and don't forget to like this video if you found it useful and subscribe to my channel. You're going to be seeing a lot more content from me, and I hope that I can help you guys learn.